Oh, good morning and welcome to episode number 6, aka Fight Day. And I don't know about you, but Fight Day always feels like Christmas Day, doesn't it? It's going to be a big one. So sprung out of bed this morning, ready to go. We're just on our way to, I can't remember the name of the gym, but it's another different gym where we're going to spar Kamel Moton, which will be a great way for Cooper to finish the camp. It's been a great week for him as far as experience and exposure, and just an introduction to life in the big time, I suppose. And I suppose you can't help but get inspired by that. So then after that, we're off to the expo. We're probably going to get there a little bit later than we'd probably like because of the sparring. So I was hoping that all the big stars will still be there. I mean, it goes from 10 till 5, so we're going to get there probably about sort of 2:30, 3 o'clock. So I'm sure we'll be fine, and there'll be still a few people there. But then we'll be back to the hotel, and then we're going to walk across to the Allegiant Stadium. I'm not going to get there at 6. That's when the main card starts. Look, I know it's not what sort of true boxing fans do. They get there from the right from the word go. But I've got to say, the undercard is just a little bit unappealing. So we're not going to rush over. Probably come back and probably have maybe something to eat and just chill for a little bit, and probably start our walk over at about 6 o'clock. Probably take us about 30 minutes to sort of walk over there and get in. So we'll be in our seats by 6:30, quarter to 7. So we should be, we should see the sort of, the sort of at least the 2 prelim fights before Canelo. And I know that's what a lot of the casuals do. They roll up just before the main event, but as I said, it's just a little bit underwhelming. So I really want to get there for the Vargas and Walsh fight, and also the Mbili and Martinez fight. They're probably the 2 I want to see, and the others can really, they're either neither here nor there. So, and then of course the big one. So really looking forward to the day. You can really tell it's fight day here. It's really busy this morning. A lot of buzz around. I know a lot of them aren't obviously here for the boxing, but Saturdays here in Vegas, especially the day of the big fighters, is something to see. So looking forward. I might do a little bit of a preview a little bit later on once we get back to the hotel before we head off. If I get a spare half an hour or something to sort of put on here. But either way, as I said, a fantastic fight. And thanks to everyone that commented on the video. I'm not really, I think a lot of people had a shot at me about my choice in music. Now, come on, guys, I'm from the 80s and 90s. Motley Crue, while they weren't my favourite band, I still liked a lot of their stuff. So everyone had a friendly dig, I know. It's a friendly dig. But anyway, all right, well, okay, coffee time, and then we'll head off to the gym and get on with the day, which should be massive here. And thanks again for everyone joining me for the episodes, and hope you enjoy episode number 6.
And then leave. There's no other entertainment.
Yeah, no, and we already know what they're like.
Yeah, so just have on.
Now bring it right here, double jack. That hand up, Jay.
Yeah. I can't see with my phone the same way out there. I told you, like, he gets way underneath. Yeah.
All right, well, just back at the Luxor. Really good session. Of course, obviously couldn't record anything of it, but really good rounds. The boys sparred 6 rounds, and really good pace. Good, again, a little bit of a chess match, but it did really well, and to the point where it was a really good, tough, even spar right throughout. And in the last round, Cooper actually tagged him with a really good left hand that he wasn't really happy about. It was sort of about 30 seconds ago or 45 seconds ago, and he got a little bit complacent and Cooper nailed him. Well, I don't think he was too happy about that, and he really poured it on in the last 30 seconds, but that was probably, as you can imagine, right, back and forth and a lot of big shots being thrown, but it was good. I mean, this is what you're here for, and he's been out of his comfort zone all week, sparring with some really good fighters, and I think he's got a lot of benefit out of it anyway. But big thanks to Kamel for actually coming in and sparring him, and his coach and his dad actually asked whether Cooper could come back another day, but of course he won't be here. So, but that sort of shows, I suppose, that they appreciated the work and they got a lot out of it as well. But he's a strong guy, Moton, very, very strong, and he doesn't like, well, he likes to be the controller of the spar, and obviously when he fights, and he's a strong guy, especially from the hips down. Apparently Cooper said he wasn't the biggest hitter he's been in there with, but just really strong in the trenches. So, but either way, he would have got a lot out of it, and I'm sure he'll go back to Australia. Now he's with a lot more, I suppose, belief in himself as well. And the good thing about it is the spars sort of got tougher as he went on. The first one was a 4-rounder, the second one was a 5-rounder, today was 6. So, and he sort of progressed through the quality, I suppose, even though the Cuban he sparred was excellent. So, but yeah, look, again, money can't buy these types of spars and the experience you get. So I'm sure he's got a lot out of it. So now we're going to head to the expo. I'm not quite sure how much we'll see. We're probably only going to have a couple of hours there before the whole thing shuts down. So I'm not sure who will be there, but we'll give it a go. At least we'll have a couple of hours there anyway, and we'll see what we can get, who we can meet, and then back here, and then straight over to the fight. So we will continue on with episode number 6. Let's go. Well, we got dropped off at what looked like the front of the expo hall, and told no, it's just around the back. And as you can see here, that is the back. I can almost see the end of the building, about a kilometre away. So that's where we're heading. We're not going to have a lot of time because we thought we had 2 hours. It looks like we're going to have more like an hour and a half, but we'll see how we go. All right, looks like we've made it here. A few people around. I've got unexpected road work today. Let's go in and check it out. All right, get to walk the red carpet and everything. There's a lot of people here for this time of day. I just wonder what it was like earlier in the day. Actually, it's not too bad. Actually, a lot of people cleared out, which is good. We'll see who's here. There's Roy Jones Jr. over there. So we'll definitely go to check him out. See who else we can find. There's Roy Jones there. We'll get a little bit of vision of him in a second, but yeah, it looks like it has cleared out a lot, which is pretty good. There's still amateur fights going on. I'll get some footage of that in a sec. But yeah, it looks like it's cleared out a lot, which is good. Which is good. As long as we see a few different stars, we'll be happy. And some of the amateur action going on today. 2 rings in action. Really good exposure for the young kids. Some bombs being thrown over there. Jeez. Great talented kids over here. This is bred into them from about 6 years of age. Get a little bit of the action here. Now apparently they can start fighting at 8 years old here. That's what these kids look like they are. Riddick Bowe, Thomas Hearns, Eric Morales, who else we got over there? They've all gone. James Toney as well. So, yeah, we knew we were up against it a little bit by getting here, 90 minutes before it closes, but as I always say, it is what it is. It's like, is it over there, Juan Francisco Estrada? So he looks like he's gone, I think. But at least we'll get Roy Jones Jr. And there's the hitman, Thomas Hearns. Again, they're trying us to get us to go away, but and Shay Mosley just there taking some photos and videos and stuff. Really, really nice guy he was. There he is. And there is the line for Teofimo Lopez. Seems to have the longest line out of anyone here, which is unusual. Can't really see him there. We'll see if we can get a little bit of footage. Marco Antonio Barrera, one of the greats. Well, there's Big Daddy over there, Riddick Bowe. Better not get too close, they try and charge you if you take unauthorised photos with them. So just got warned about Roy Jones Jr. Come on, I paid $40 to get in here. Least I can do is film from a distance. But anyway, everything costs money here in America. Alright, so we're currently back at the casino. I'm actually in between the Luxor and Mandalay Bay at the moment. The guys of Shannon and Cooper and Felix have all gone for something to eat. It's way too early for me, it's about 5 o'clock. They've got the Wahlburgers. If you know Wahlburgers, it's a burger franchise owned by or operated, I don't know. They've got the face on it anyway. The Wahlberg family, Marky Mark and is it Donnie, and I think there's another one as well. Really good burgers though, so they're in there having something to eat, so I thought I'd just come out and probably give a little bit of an update on the fight, maybe my predictions of the fight itself. Now, this is a real tough one. I reckon I've been asked 50 times in the last 2 days, you know, who you got, and I don't really know. I really don't. Look, I think if you go by previous form, I still don't think you can pick anyone. I mean, Canelo against William School looked the most uninspired I think I've seen him since he started, but it was only a few months back. Before that, the Belunga fight, I thought he looked okay. Then you've got Crawford, who his last fight again you can't go by because he looked even less inspired than Canelo in his fight with Madrimov and really battled there. But before that, looked awesome against Errol Spence. The problem is that it was 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, and 20 pounds ago. So there's so many questions and intangibles and everything involved in this fight that I've got a feeling if I'm going to pick a winner, it's just purely by gut feel. Because I don't think you can look at either one of them and say, yes, this guy's going to win because of this. I know we're going to go for Canelo. He's the established 168. Been in all these big fights over the last few years, or his whole career, last decade. He's been in massive fight after massive fight, and he's, as I said, established at the weight. He's big, he's strong. But then you've got Crawford, who I thought matched up really well with him physically on the stage, on the scales. But how is he going to match it with him in the ring is another question when they really start to, the sting goes out of the fight. First 3 or 4 rounds get down, and then does Canelo really start to enforce force his way into Crawford's range and his face? I don't know. And then you've got Crawford, who as I said, looked the part, but can he physically go with Canelo, and can he maintain his speed and his footwork I don't think he's ever been the fastest guy, Crawford, but he's got precise timing. Really times his punches well, and when he hits you, it's always sharp and hard, and he follows up really well. He doesn't allow himself to get cramped and tied up and all this sort of stuff. I mean, there's so many questions. There really is. So who do I think wins and why? Look, my gut feel is Crawford. I don't know why. Because I'm a Canelo man, I'm hoping that Canelo can get the job done. But I'm looking at both of them, and I know there'll be people out there saying, what drug's this guy on? But I'll just give you the reasons now. I'm looking at the Canelo situation. I think that Crawford, if he can keep him at a distance, and I don't think he runs. I don't think he runs from Canelo. I think he'll stand in front of him and try and counter him. I think he'll try and get Canelo to punch first and then come back with 2 or 3. That's probably what I'm thinking. Canelo likes to throw one punch at a time, even more so than what he used to. He used to throw maybe 2, 3, even 4. Now it's sort of one at a time. And I think if he tries out with Crawford, he's going to cop 2 or 3 straight back. So I think that's what he might do. I think if he runs, it's going to be one-way traffic for Canelo. I don't think he can outbox Canelo. I just don't think he'll have the strength and everything to. I know that sounds funny because it's probably easier to run, but I think he will stand in front of Canelo but look to counter Canelo. And I think if he does that successfully, I think he can carve Canelo up. I really do. Again, the questions of his size and speed and everything comes into it. But if he can carry about 80 to 85% of what he had at the lower weights into this fight, I think he can really do some damage to Canelo on the counter. And I know this is going to go down really, really bad. And I know this might get thrown back at me as a receipt after the fight. I think if Crawford wins, I think he wins by stoppage. Now, I know you've just spat your coffee all over the screen here, but I think if Crawford wins, it's by stoppage. I think it might be a gradual sort of beat down, I suppose, if you want to call it, just continuing to put it on Canelo all the fight and staying in the fight, staying competitive, and then as the 7th, 8th, 9th rounds come around, I think if he could really open up and put it on Canelo and stop him. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I can really see it happening. Then on the flip side, if you play it safe and just go with the statistics, and the way of thinking of most people out there, then you're going to go with Canelo. Too big, too strong. He's going to cut Crawford off, and he's going to do some damage. I, again, strangely think, and again, you might raise your eyebrows, I think if Canelo wins, it's going to be on points. So I know that sort of goes against all the narrative. I think if Canelo wins, it's on points. I think if Crawford wins, it's by late sort of round stoppage. All right, we begin the walk across the bridge to Allegiant Stadium. Apologies about the sun here, but not much I can do about it. Thousands of people streaming across the bridge that they've shut for the event. I've got a feeling they do it for all the events actually, but makes it a hell of a lot easier. And there is the stadium, Allegiant Stadium. How cool does that look? Complete with a plane flying over the top. This way. Here we are, Allegiant Stadium. Not bad seats, you probably can't see there because I've zoomed right out, but just to get everything in, but yeah, not bad. Although I will be zooming in a lot during the fight, but that is a view of this awesome stadium.
Len Feldman scores the contest, 95-95, 3 wins. This fight is a draw. Again, a round of applause for the two fighters who gave it all in Vegas, Las Vegas time. champion, undisputed welterweight champion of the world, and the current reigning super welterweight world champion, the undefeated Terrence Two defeats with two draws is the four-time four-division world champion, the former super welterweight world champion, former middleweight world champion, former light heavyweight world champion, and the reigning, defending, Ring Magazine undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. Defense Bell scores at 116-112. Max DeLuca and Tim Cheatham both have it, 115-113. To the winner by unanimous decision, the Fighting Pride of Omaha, Nebraska.
All right, I'm back at the hotel, and what a night. What a night, especially for Terence Bud Crawford and his fans, and there were a lot of them there tonight, I can tell you. A masterful performance. He said he was going to do it, and he did it. Now, there was the doubts about his size, his strength, carrying the extra weight, all that sort of stuff. Canelo being a great fighter and having such an advantage with size and strength and everything like that. And he really showed that he was the superior fighter, he really did. And I've got doubts about where Canelo's at after seeing tonight. I know Terence Crawford is a very, very special fighter, but Canelo just seemed to be a step behind all night, really struggled to cut off the ring. Missed shots continuously all night. I know Bud had a lot to do with that, but yeah, not the same fighter. And there's nothing wrong with that. He was in good spirits afterwards. I think he realised he was in with a great fighter, and he just come up short, and it happens. The event itself was fantastic. Well, yeah, the event was great, but geez, the rest of the card, it was hard. It was a hard watch. The Christian Mbili and Lester Martinez fight was fantastic, but the crowd didn't really get into it too much. It was a bit flat. From what I've heard back home, people watching it, they said it was great to watch on TV, but the crowd just did not get engaged in any of the fights except for the main one. But yeah, the Mbili and Martinez fight was great. Geez, the main prelim though, Fernando Vargas Jr. and Callum Walsh, shocking fight. I don't know what it was like on TV to have to sit through that to get to the main event. All I kept looking at was, all right, there's 5 rounds to go, there's 4 rounds to go, there's 3 rounds to go. It was a hard watch. It was a shocker. I don't know where the praise or whatever it is about these guys comes from. I can't see it with either of them, especially Fernando Vargas. He had big raps on him. Didn't see it with him, and certainly didn't see it with Callum Walsh either, even though he won, was it 10 rounds to 0 and 9 rounds to 1 on the other 2 scorecards. I don't know. I must admit I was in between struggling to stay awake. I wasn't really taking much notice of the fight. But I thought it might have been a bit closer than that from what I've seen of it. But that was probably the only downside of the whole night. The whole card, apart from the Mbili and the main card I'm talking about, by the way, there's only 4 fights. But the first one, again, really, really hard watch. Glorified sparring session. It was a shocker. And then that one. But the Mbili and Walsh fight, Mbili and Parker fight, at least, not Parker, what's his name? Martinez. Sorry, it's about 1:30 in the morning here. So that was a hard watch, but it was all worth it when they came out, and just the production of the show was amazing. It really was. To see, they actually gave us wristbands, and you would have seen on the TV, they're all changing colours and all that sort of stuff. That was people's wristbands. It wasn't any lights in the arena. It was the bands we had on, and they could change the colours they were going to, and they had American flags, they had the Mexican flag, and they had all different things going on. It was just amazing. The production was just fantastic. It really was, and the atmosphere absolutely buzzing in there it was. And when the guys come out, I don't think I've seen anything more electric, all the fights I've been to. So that was good. I'm still to be sold on the whole Turki Al Sheikh thing. I don't know. It didn't, even though it was a massive fight, it still didn't feel like a massive fight, if that makes sense. As good as it all was, I don't know. You tell me. It's just something was lacking. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. But yeah, all that aside, it was just a great night, and the crowd was up and about. Lots of Crawford fans, obviously lots of Canelo fans, and the whole night was really enjoyable. What wasn't enjoyable though is the going over and coming back. Well, going over was okay, but trying to get out, 70,000 people there. Amazing, a record for the stadium. Of course, it's probably been full before, but the stands only hold 65 for the football, and of course they would have had 5 or 6 on the ground. So that was great to have a record. But coming back, trying to get out of the venue and then over the bridge, through the casinos, it was an absolute nightmare, but we made it anyway. But just this is what I love about the sport. When you come to events like this is why we all love the sport so much. But this will be the last episode of this tour or trip. I just wanted to thank everyone for all the messages and comments and all that sort of stuff. I will be doing a review of this, if I can spit it out again. It's late. A review of this tomorrow, but I'm just sort of having an overview now. But I've really appreciated everyone's comments and remarks they've made and messages I've been sent and everything else. It's meant a lot, and I hope it sort of goes some way to showing you what goes on over here in these big fights. I know I'm very, very lucky to be able to do this. I realise that, and I know a lot of people out there can't get there, and hopefully one day they will. I would really wish for every single one of you out there that at some stage you get over here and see these fights. But if you can't, well, I'm just glad that I can at least bring you along and give you an idea of what goes on these trips. And who knows, as I said, you might be over here one day yourself. Goals, always about goals. But anyway, all that aside, thanks again. We're going to head out tomorrow. I think we check out at 11. I think our first plane's at 2:30 or something like that, back to LA, and then I'll be flying straight to Melbourne from there. So it's always good to get home. As much as I love it over here, it's great to get home and see the family and everything else. So again, guys, thanks very much for coming along. I really look forward to the next trip. I'm not quite sure when it'll be, but I'll be doing these videos again anyway. But thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next trip.